Hi there, this is Patricia from patriciafenty.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make your own hand-blended incense. We're going to make a meditation blend, and this is a type of loose incense that is burned on a charcoal disc or in an oil burner, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. And a lot of people think they're allergic to incense, but it's actually the commercially produced incense can be toxic. They're made with something called punk sticks, which is like a bamboo stick with glue and sawdust and an accelerant, and then it's dipped into a synthetic fragrance. And so those are actually quite toxic, and that can pose a problem to your health. Whereas this is a very natural blend. We're using all natural resins and herbs and a little bit of honey. So this is a really beautiful option to make your own hand-blended incense. So as I say, you're burning the incense on a charcoal disc. And this is really great to use if you're doing any sort of cleansing or a ritual. If you want to maybe burn the incense during meditation and the smoke doesn't bother you. But this is an oil burner, which you can place a couple of layers of tinfoil in the bowl, and the heat from the tea light will diffuse the aroma of the ingredients without the smoke. So this is good if you have an issue with the smoke from incense, and it adds a nice aroma to your home. So those are the two ways you can burn the incense. Now there are different types of charcoal that you can use. This is the Three Kings charcoal, and it is just pure charcoal. And the Three Kings is really good because there are no added accelerants in them. Like some of these discs actually have lighter fluid or that type of accelerant in them. So if you're going to use these type of discs, the Three Kings is the cleanest burning. There's also a type of bamboo charcoal, and this is really lovely to use, but it is a little bit harder to light, but it is very beautiful to use as well. And it's made especially for this purpose. So the ingredients that we're using in this blend are frankincense tears, and frankincense is known to increase oxygen to the brain by 30%. And so it helps to improve concentration, it relaxes the mind, and it stimulates the immune system. And we're also using myrrh, and myrrh helps to improve negative states of mind, and it enhances the feeling of spiritual connection, and it's very grounding. And then there's copal, and copal helps to enhance intuition, inspiration, and receptivity. And these are all resins. And I have some bigger chunks of the resins here. And we're going to use the mortar and pestle to grind it down to smaller pieces, but they're really so beautiful. Then we're going to go into some of the herbs. This is lavender. Lavender is very relaxing. It reduces cortisol levels, it's mildly sedating, and it increases your sense of well-being. Then we have some chamomile. And chamomile is really great to help with relaxation, and it also helps to deepen your meditation experience. Then we're going to use Anise Seed, and this helps to remove negativity, it invokes blessings, and it deepens your insight and psychic powers. Then we're going to use some red sandalwood, and this is sometimes known as false sandalwood. So white sandalwood is actually become an endangered species, and red sandalwood is more sustainable. And while it's not as potent as white sandalwood, it still has the same properties. It's not quite as strong as the white sandalwood with the fragrance, but it's still very lovely. And so it helps to stimulate the crown chakra, it removes negativity, and helps to relax the mind. So these are all really nice ingredients to use for the meditation blend. And then the other thing we're going to use is a little bit of honey to help mix in this powder. If you don't have liquid honey, you can just put it in a bowl of hot water to soften it. I don't like to use a microwave for anything like this, so just use some hot water for that. And that's everything you'll need. So let's get started. All right, so you're going to need a bowl to mix the ingredients together. And I like to prepare the bowl. Of course, you want to use a clean bowl, but I also burn a bit of sage into the bowl to smudge it and cleanse it energetically as well. So what you want to do is you want to grind down some of your bigger pieces of resin and break them down in the mortar and pestle. It's totally up to you what size you want to keep. Like this size here is really nice to burn on the charcoal disc, but that might be a little bit too big to burn in the diffuser. But you can always grind your incense blend down more after it's been mixed together to use in the oil burner or diffuser. So I'm taking the larger chunks here and I'm going to just break them down a bit smaller. And you want to be kind of gentle when you do this because the resin will sort of shatter and get quite powdery if you over grind it. So that's a nice amount there. So we're using 3 parts frankincense, and that includes what we've ground up there. And my part is just teaspoons is what I'm using. And this is 2 parts myrrh, and I happen to have really fine myrrh, so I didn't have to break that down. But you can see here I have some really nice big chunks of myrrh. So if you wanted to, you could break those down. So 2 parts myrrh. And then the copal is in pretty big chunks, so I'm going to break that all down. Now the copal breaks down very easily, so you want to be very gentle with this. It's like a very fine glass. And and just break it down till it gets into nice sized pieces. And so we're using 1 part copal. So that's all of the resins blended in there. And then we'll use 2 parts lavender and 1.5 parts of chamomile flowers and 1 part anise seed and 1 part red sandalwood powder. So this is a really small batch that I'm making. The parts that I'm using is like a teaspoon, and because I'm giving you the recipe in parts, you can make whatever quantity you like. Now this is where you're going to want to mix in the honey, and you want to use a latex glove for this because it can get pretty sticky, so this helps to blend it together nicely. So take your honey and mix your ingredients together a little bit with your fingers. And then you're going to put about 1/2 part of honey, so about in this case, 1/2 teaspoon of honey. I'll be putting in a little bit more than that, but just start with like 1/2 part. And then mix it together with your fingers. And you're kind of kneading it together, squishing it between your fingers and blending it in to your mixture. And this can take a little while to do. I'm just going to speed it up a little bit here, but you want to make sure it's mixed in quite nicely. And then I'm adding about another 1/4 teaspoon or 1/4 part and mixing that in. And so you want to get it to the point where the powder is blended in nicely, and you can see how the dough is kind of soft and crumbly. And I'm just mixing it a little bit more here, and there we go. So that's a nice consistency. I'm going to take my gloves off and we'll put this into a nice dish. All right, here we are. So once you have a nice consistency, you can lay it out on a plate or a flat surface, and then you want to let this cure for about 2 weeks. And it's nice if you can place it in the direct sunlight so that the sun can infuse it with its energy. And then you can place it in an airtight container once it's all cured. And then I also like to bless my incense once I've prepared it. And this is totally up to you, but I just say a little blessing, a thanks. And what I say is, I offer my deepest thanks and gratitude to the Creator and Mother Earth for these beautiful and sacred offerings. May the spiritual and healing properties of these plants support myself and anyone who uses them in deepening our experience in our meditation practice. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that's it. And now I do have a video on how to burn hand-blended incense, and it's a really old video. It's about 5 years old, and so please excuse all the imperfections. It's the very first video I ever made, but the information there is really helpful, so that's why I've kept it. So check that out. So there you go. I wish you could smell this. It smells so beautiful. And I hope this inspires you to try making your own hand-blended incense. And I hope you liked this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more inspiring and creative videos. Thank you for joining me.